good is if they got something like a what's one of those rooms where you can just throw yourself around.
Oh yeah, not a panic room. No, not a panic room.
Yeah, just like
a
big
tantrum
walls.
room.
Tantrum room. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
a tantrum room where you can just go in and bounce around and throw yourself against the wall.
Yeah,
It'd be really good, wouldn't it? I think it'd be good for mental health.
I think so, and I think we should be on to the ECB about that. Maybe we could set up a separate company providing tantrum rooms.
A special bouncy castle. That's what it is. Steve Sipcott is with you. He says, I have exactly the same problem with my glasses. I now see what I look like when I move them up and down. Morning all.
Matty Potts starts a new over, too wide outside the off stump. Will Young lets it go. Carry on, Messi.
Martin Lawrence says, great to hear three of my favourite members of the team together.
Martin.
Annie, Messi and Hendo. Enjoy the game today. Should be a ripper. Thank you so much, Martin. And Leah's with us. Morning all. I don't like the start.
Don't like this start? What, you mean New Zealand losing a wicket? I guess not. She doesn't really like England, does she? She's not a big fan of England. Big fan of India, I believe. Matty Potts again. Hasn't quite got it. I don't know, just doesn't seem to be hitting the pitch as hard as normal. Onto the back foot goes Young. Plays that well. And actually, I think the galley or the backward point should have done a little bit better there. But it's run away behind square for one of these.
It's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
And Will Young came back from a disappointing first test and batted quite well in the second test. Got a 40 and a 50, didn't he? It was unfortunate to be run out, I think, in that second innings. Was it the second innings? I think it was. It seems like years ago since that game. So much has happened.
The Netherlands since.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So New Zealand moving to double figures, 10 for 1. Will Young chattering to himself under his helmet. This is a straighter ball from Potts. It's defended back to the bowler, and there is no run. I get a feeling that with Potts, I think, is running up the hill at Headingley. If you know Headingley, it runs from top to bottom. There is a slope, but it's down the pitch as opposed to across the pitch like at Lord's. Just doesn't seem to have the same nip in him that he's had over the last couple of tests that we've seen. As we get a close-up on the Slab 2, it should be. The sequel. Slab 2, the sequel. Here comes Potts again outside the off-stump. Fuller delivery this time. It's left alone by Young and goes through the keeper. There is no run. Get us more.
Well,
he
has got the pace we need, doesn't he? Let's face it, Jamie.
I haven't seen a lot of him. I've seen much more of Craig than Jamie over the years.
Yeah, no, Jamie's got that extra pace, definitely. He always has, but he's just got fitter and a bit better. Yeah,
why is Craig kind of been the first of the twins to make it into the England?
Because he's been more accurate.
Yeah. Potts short. He aims a pull at this one and misses. Hits over the top of it. And Foakes does well again, diving away to his left. But it kept low, so he had to reach down at the same time as he was diving. And does worry. I'm a little bit worried about the pace of the pitch from this end. Just doesn't seem to be getting up, really. I mean, he went for the pull shot. Lovely piece of keeping from Foakes. It is so good to see a proper wicket-keeper, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got better with every game, too.
Yep, and he can bat a bit. GPL is £127. I'll tell you how to enter in a minute. In comes Potts, wide of the off stump, also quite full. Left alone. It's the end of the over. 10 for 1 from the first 4 overs of the morning. Latham is the man who's gone. Williamson has 4. Young has 6. GPL is the Guerrilla Prediction League. You pay us £1 and you estimate how many runs you think there will be in the day, or you use your skills to work that out. Then you put the money on and wait to see what happens at the end of the day. GPL, guerrillacricket.com/competitions. Go there and have as many goes as you want. Let's see if we can get it up to £200 before the end of by the end of lunch, or the beginning of lunch, nice. Of course, which is when it closes. So you have about 2 hours to make your forecast. You might want to get in there early, or you might want to leave it for a little while. But please do play the GPL. It's great fun later in the day, even if the cricket itself is a little bit dull. 3 slips and a leg slip for Kane Williamson as Stuart Broad comes running in again. Onto the back foot he goes. He turns it past the man at leg slip, a long way away from him, no danger at all. Down to long leg. He will take a single. He goes to 5 and it's 11 for 1. Messi, let me see if you can get a few more few more.
So the new man, Hombre Nuevo, says, "Morning, wonderful gorillas. Can we add the new Messi quote to the opening credits permanently?"
Well, do you know what I thought? I thought I sit here and I work out with rigorous discipline a little spiel to say to you as we introduce the game, and then Messi just comes along and says, "Fuck it," and everyone falls around laughing. What's the point? Why am I wasting my time? 11 for 1.
It's a surprise factor.
That's what it is. Will Young is going to face Broad, perhaps for the first time this morning. He's coming in from the Kirkstall Lane end, and it's wide of the off stump and left alone by the right-handed batsman. Carry on, Messi.
Warren says, "Thoughts on Potts with the new ball rather than Jamie Overton?"
Well, he just doesn't. He doesn't. I don't know.
It looks like it's hard work, like you were saying.
Yeah.
The pace is, and it does look like he's running up a mountain rather.
Yeah,
than
maybe he doesn't like the hill.
slope.
Maybe he doesn't like the hill at Headingley.
Bit of a Kate Bush thing, isn't it?
Hey, good point. Kate Bush, number 1 in the charts.
I know.
Isn't that amazing? Broad in again, charges up to the wicket, bowls, hits him on the pad, probably climbing too high, probably missing leg stump, so we don't get the celeb appeal from Mr. Broad, and there is no run. 11 for 1. The GPL, let me just say, GPL, go to gorillacricket.com/competitions. There you will find all the instructions on how to play the GPL, and it's great fun, so get involved if you've not done so before, because it all helps keep Gorilla Cricket on the air, and that's the main thing.
Gorilla Cricket Pawnbot is with us, and he loves sizing up Jamie Overton. Click here.
Steady on. I'm not sure about this bot. I don't know whether we should ban the bot. Ban the bot! Broad into Young, full again, and he digs this out and away through mid-wicket. 2 men in pursuit. It's the man from mid-on who will get there first. That is Matty Potts, and they'll get back for 2 runs. I'm a little bit worried that this pitch is going to be a bit dead. Doesn't seem to be.
I mean, I see what you mean.
It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be coming onto the bat. I mean, I suppose we were spoiled by what we had at Trent Bridge, where you really got value for your run, or for your shots, should we say.
Well, let's face it, the weather forecast looks far too nice, and it'll keep us far too jolly, so we need to find something miserable, don't we?
We like to moan. As I said, you always need the moribund look for English cricket. Broad in again, bowls, and outside the off-stump. It is left alone by Young. Messi?
Oh, Josie Oak and Matt Searle have both tweeted, "I'd give my right arm to be ambidextrous." And Matt Searle, am I left to be able to spell it without autocorrect?
Probably not. Probably not.
Hashtag I'll get my Kate.
Yeah, I should do that. We should find out if anyone's joined us on YouTube as well in a minute. So we have a growing audience on YouTube, it appears to me.
Indeed.
New Zealand 13 for 1. We've got 1 ball remaining in the 5th over. New Zealand won the toss and batted full, and he just contained himself there. Young looked like he was going for the big clip off the legs, and maybe it wasn't quite there for that. He ended up just steering it to square leg. That is the end of the over. New Zealand 13 for 1. Messi.
I can tell you that on YouTube, Suter has been having a whole lot to say. Good morning. He's also been killing the pawn bot with his spanner, I'm pleased to say. Padded cell, he suggested for the.
That's right. That's it. That's the word the words I was looking for. Padded cell. That's what everybody should have.
But Dave Wood says England need a padding room as well.
Yes, they do, mostly. Absolutely, that's for collapses. We'll go to the panic room now. Actually, I think that may just be the general dressing room, is the panic room for England, generally speaking.
Mutley says, "Woof, morning Primate, slightly tardy here. Nice to see England off to a good start. Latham sausages."
Did I see, Mutley, that you're now British? I didn't know you weren't British.
Is now
I didn't
British,
know you weren't British, but now I know you are British.
And loved by Priti Patel.
Indeed so, as all of us are. And, Williamson has played a rather poor shot at that outside the off-stump. The ball did start to move away as he tried to force it, but it was a rather airy, wavy shot, one that you wouldn't really associate with
it just
the New
shows
Zealand
he's not in the form, his normal form, is he?
Well, do you know what I said the other day? I said the other day in the Smaximum, which will be out again tomorrow. I should tell you about that. That's our Patreons only newsletter. I did mention that he's in his difficult root years at the moment. He's going through what Root did. Onto the back foot goes Williamson plays it back down the pitch, and there is no run. Every batsman goes through this. I mean, actually, it doesn't matter how good you are, and we've talked a lot about the big four, of which he is one. But Root has now established himself at the top of that for the time being, because he's been in such incredible form over the last 18 months or so. But it's just not quite going for Kane in many ways. People talk about the fact that he's had another child. They always say that children help cricketers, but I don't know. Potts full. Oh, now he's playing uncertainly at that one. It was very full indeed, and he's gone off a sort of the inside corner of the bat, low down, all the way to long leg for a single.
Wasn't quite where he was aiming at.
Absolutely not. No, I mean, you often read this thing, well, someone's doing well, oh, it's because he's just become a father.
It depends how parenty you are, I suppose.
Well, also, it depends how many hours they're keeping you up in the night. I mean, how are you expected to go and bowl 20 overs in a day, or bat for 3 hours, if you've been kept awake all night by a screaming sprog?
Oh, they'll all have wet nurses and...
Oh, will they?
All those sort of things.
You can tell I'm not a father, can't you? Funnily
Witness! God help us!
Potts in again, bowls to Young, and Young pushes out into the offside. There is no run. 14 for...
Isn't that a thing anymore? Sorry.
I don't know what goes on in Exeter, but it's a while since wet nurses have been a thing, I think.
We have a wet nurse farm, don't it?
Wet nurse farm? Sounds like the kind of thing I'd quite like to visit. Anyway, 14 for 1. Young has 8, and Williamson. Can you get holidays there? Holiday at the wet nurse farm. That's interesting. Isn't it? Potts in again. I bet he will. Nicely steered, nicely driven, really, but didn't go through with the shot, but timed it very nicely. Young up to mid-on, and there is no run.
Oh dear.
Oh, let's just have a moment of silence. It's all been a bit of a rush this morning, hasn't it? Well, there is that, of course. It's all just been a bit of a rush this morning, as we've been also. Well, I should tell you that Jacob is in the house. Jacob is making his first appearance at Gorilla Towers.
Oh.
And when he was at the door, I opened the door to him and I had no idea who he was. As I stopped. Left alone.
You thought he'd come to read the meter or something.
Well, you never know. You never know who's turning up to see the bear. So you can't always. I mean, he was standing out there with a motorcycle helmet. So I thought, is this a delivery? Are we getting more beer? And then he said Hendo. I thought, hang on. And so Jacob is in the house. He'll be with you in not too long, I guess. In about after one more over, I would suggest.
Excellent.
How many people are making it to the tower these days?
Well, Tony normally would be here, but Tony's missus is getting her OBE this week, so he's got to go. He's got to go to the palace. He's got to go to the palace.
He's got to go to the palace.
Yeah.
Jay Grover says Neil Wagner is my favourite Kiwi. Won my undying admiration in the Kiwis' last disastrous tour of Australia. That man fights. He'll fight and he'll fight and he'll fight. Admirable and great entertainment.
That is what I would.
That was just.
I would
Joshua
love.
That.
Okay, I'll come back to that in a moment. I would just say I'd love to see New Zealand beat Australia in Australia. That's what I'm living to see. Hopefully, now Brody was just about to bowl his first ball of a new over, and he's just has to run it out at the end, really, because Williamson wasn't ready. So Brody a little bit annoyed about that. So he takes his body and his headband back to the end of his run up. And no doubt
that'll give him
steaming.
A few bits of extra pace there for the next ball.
I would think so. I haven't seen short balls so far this morning. It'd be interesting to see how much a short ball gets up. I would just like to see a little experiment. Yeah. Maybe we will with Jamie Overton. This one is nothing like a short delivery. It's very full and it's clipped away by Williamson. It's running across those pitches on the outfield, and in the end, it's just about flicked back by, I think, Alex Lees. No, it's the slab. Sorry, it's slab Mark 2.
It is the slab.
And they've got through for 3 runs. Williamson goes to 9. He nearly forgot to... he was about to go over the boundary with the ball in his hand and almost forgot to flick it back, but he did ultimately. So
it was a marvellous bit of fielding.
Marvellous, absolutely. Everything Somerset players do is absolutely...
He's not a Somerset player anymore. But he destroyed the Somerset players.
Yeah, but you know...
Craig Overton's still not playing, and neither's Josh Davey.
At heart, he's a Somerset boy, isn't he? Or Devon boy, isn't he? Really flicked up too long, mid-off, and then the throw comes in, and it's not far away. Ben Stokes throws his eyes to the heavens as the effort came in, I think, from Matty Potts at mid-on. So a rather hurried single there from Young. It's already been run out in this series, doesn't want to do it again. He went on the shot, really. Thought he timed that quite nicely. And Potts stooped, and he was in a very awkward position, but still got a pretty decent throw in. Wasn't that far away. Anyway, score moves on to 18 for 1. Both batsmen on 9. Tom Latham gone for a duck if you're just joining us. If you are just joining us, welcome along to Guerrilla Cricket. It's lovely to have you. Broad in again. Williamson jabs this down into the onside. No short leg. Might be worth having a short leg. But they're continuing with the leg slip attack for now.
Jay says, when I worked with autistic bands, we had a snoozarium that was soft panelled with a ball pit and soothing lights for when they went mental. Install one in Guerrilla Task ASAP.
Yeah, definitely.
And Leah says, you're correct, Hendo. She says special bouncy castle is a nice euphemism for padded cell.
Yes, absolutely. Come into my lovely bouncy castle. In comes Broad again, bowls to Williamson. 2 wide outside the off stump, doesn't have to play at that. And there is no run. The Bear has come in.
And she also says, you're correct, Hendo. I do like the Australians even less, though. So during Ashes, I root for England.
Oh, right. Okay, that's good. It must be a time when you rooted for England. 18 for 1. Williamson 9, Young 9. Jacob is about to make his debut in the house. Give him
in the house.
Give him a bloody hard time. That's what I say.
I always like the underdog. I have to say so. I'd probably
me too.
Be rooting more for New Zealand in this Test match.
Outside the off stump again, left alone. Still 1 ball remaining. That was at 84 miles an hour. Seem to have got a problem with one of the screens that the Bear is trying to sort out now. As we see a close-up on Jimmy Anderson, who seemed very happy with the life. He's thinking, oh good, I don't have to go out there and bowl and then wait for England to collapse in 2 hours and go out and bowl again. I can just take it easy.
He wouldn't have played today anyhow.
Well, there was talk. Do you think there was talk before he knew he was injured?
No.
I mean, they did say that, didn't they? That he might just have to be rested because they've got the Indian Test coming up next week as well.
Yeah, same as Owen Morgan was injured.
Oh yes,
yesterday.
Yes,
injured out.
Broad in again to complete the over. 2 wide of the off stump, left alone by Williamson, and that is the end of the over. We'll just do a little bit of marketing, and then Jacob will slide into view.
The best things in life are free. Just like Guerrilla Commentary, we need money. That's what I want. Guerrilla Cricket. We need money. I don't like the BBC. I prefer Guerrilla Commentary. I want money. $20 for the archive. That's what I want. Or just buy a t-shirt.
Well, hello, and is that an edge? I think it is. It's just dropped short of Jonny Bairstow there at Gully. Action immediately on my debut into Guerrilla Towers as we see Hendo come back into the room and grab his phone, which he'd very nicely forgotten. Hello to Annie and Forthy, who are joining me. Nice to see you all.
Hello, Jacob.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you tell Bear the video has died? It's gone to a question mark all of a sudden.
Ah, right. Where the Bear will be in shortly. I can hear him growling in at the moment as you'll get radio commentary only as that's left alone by Young outside the off stump. And the Bear is now working on the problem, so be reassured. Here we go. It was just stuck on the preview screen. Is it back, Messers?
It's having too many people. Too many people in the studio. That's what happens.
Yes, it is back now.
This always reminds me of when the roadie comes on stage halfway through a song when Bear suddenly appears like this.
Well, he does look like a roadie, doesn't he?
He does, yes.
Oh, right, so that's left alone outside the off stump by Young. So the video sound is problematic at the moment. The radio sound you still have, so if you're old school and you're listening to Guerrilla Radio, not on the net, but it is on the net, but not on the YouTubes, you can still hear me. I'm not just screaming into the void.
You might be, but Jacob, have you been Can I ask you a personal question?
As that's defended by Young from Potts. Yes, you may ask me a personal question.
Have you been going to the gym? You're looking quite ripped, if I may put it that way.
Thank you, Forthy. That's very kind of you. I haven't been in the gym lifting the weights, but I have been doing exercise. I'm a fan of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Well, it's certainly paying off. Well,
what's the difference? What's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
It's a little less judo-y than Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. As Potts is in, that's clipped off the legs by Young. He will get a run down to fine leg. It's the debuting Jamie Overton who's down there, and he'll get it in. It will just, I think they've taken a single. So Young moves to 10. Williamson on strike for the final ball of this over.
What's the easiest? And Annie, as a doyen of county cricket, what's the easiest way? They're both not on the field at the moment. It's quite easy. How can you tell a Jamie from a Craig? Is there any obvious distinguishing feature?
Just facially, he's got quite a different face than Craig. Can't you tell?
There's a prominent jawline. I mean, the shades on, they look fairly similar.
He's got a different mouth, different hairstyle, but yeah, it's not a massive difference, I have to say.
Potts bowls wide of the off stump, left alone by Williamson. End of the 8th over. New Zealand 19 for 1, and welcome back to our viewers on YouTube. We are back on the video. And is it Forthy on the socials?
No, I think it's me.
I think it's Annie.
Yeah, I'm going to go for... Matt Searle says, Freddie Truman used to describe the slope as running up to cellar steps. I asked him once how often he had to do it, and he just laughed at the idea. Never, son. That was for the others. You see, my Yorkshire accent's really, really good, as you can tell. Matt Lee says, I am still going through my difficult route years since 1980. Warren says, update on Bear's water pipes, please. And Leah says, what permits do you need to breed wet nurses? Do you have to cull them in case they get foot and mouth disease?
Well,
we've been talking about wet nurses. I don't know if you noticed.
We'll address that one at some point. Young leaves Broad alone outside the off stump. Talking of water pipes, sort of tangentially, I have very wet trousers. And the reason is...
Oh, please, we don't want...
The reason
do you want to go there?
Because I drove into Gorilla Towers this morning and was caught in the rain on my motorcycle, and am now extremely damp.
Right, and you turned up with your helmet off, didn't you, as well?
As that's clipped off the legs by Young for a single. I had my helmet on most of the time. Pretty much all the time I was on the motorcycle.
When you got to the door...
Oh yeah, I turned up with my helmet off. Although Hendo still didn't recognise me.
Quick warning, word to the wise. We decided yesterday that helmets was probably where we were going to avoid with the porn bot in range. So there's quite a long list of words we're trying to avoid now.
Oh dear. I don't know if I'll be up for avoiding all these words.
I mean, I probably shouldn't have chimed in with wet trousers with the porn bot lurking.
I wouldn't have thought so. Don't mention squirting the ball onto the onside.
Oh, good lord. As in comes Broad, and that's defended by Williamson, who then lifts his leg as he thinks it's going to come back onto the stumps to sort of kick it away, and then sort of just wobbles slightly oddly. But there will be no run as an upshot of Kane Williamson's wobbling.
So what's it like and I mean, Annie, you know all about it, no doubt, but what's it like in Gorilla Towers? What are the facilities like? What's the ambience? Do you want to sort of...
Oh, it's so plush, isn't it?
It's lovely, yeah. I was particularly impressed by the cleanliness of the carpets.
Oh. Which you're now dripping all over.
Oh, don't say that, Forthy. You're embarrassing me. As that's sweetly driven by Williamson and past the diving fielder, and it will run away for one of these.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary.
And
I have to say that was seamless.
Thank
jingling
you, my maiden jingle.
Yeah.
They're
good,
right.
very good.
They're just in front of me here on the computer, and they seem to be working beautifully. Thank you to...
Seamless like a wobble ball, that one.
It's been a long time since I've been to Gorilla Towers, so I know that it's had a bit of a change around.
Yeah, well, I have nothing to compare it to beforehand, of course. As Williamson leaves outside the off stump, no run as it thuds into the black gloves of Ben Foakes. They're very trendy black gloves. I always say this when I come on, but I'm
trendy black gloves.
I like his black gloves. I always thought Joss Butler's green Kookaburra ones were a bit useless, whereas the black gloves, they're cool.
On the other hand, I think I saw Henry Nicholls in the sort of parade this morning wearing black trainers for his. And they look like the most the sort of thing your mum would send you off to play cricket in. You'd be absolutely embarrassed in front of all the other school kids.
Yeah, black trainers aren't the thing, are they?
That nips off the pitch, actually, into Williamson's thigh pad. It's missed the inside edge. End of the over, 24 for 1. Williamson on 13, Young on 11. Anything on the socials, Annie?
Oh, yes, it's me, isn't it? Leah says, congratulations, Hendo, you broke the stream. Don't think it was Hendo, but the light roller says, hello, Forthy, how cold is it in Melbourne? Yes, I was hearing it's very cold in Melbourne.
Bloody freezing.
Well, how cold? How cold?
Well, it was down to about 12 degrees this afternoon when I took the dog out.
Yeah, that's quite cold.
That's pretty chilly for Melbourne.
Yeah.
I'll stop
you. Poor thing, it's very hot here, by the way.
I'll stop you there, guys,
oh, well,
as
nice.
We have a bowling change. It is
and
Jamie
about time.
Overton making his debut for England. Less seamless jingling here, because I can see Craig's jingle. I can't see Jamie's, but I'll find it. Don't you worry. As he's in. Oh, that does look quick, actually. That's not a loosener. That's zipped off the pitch from Jamie Overton. 88 miles an hour.
Yes, he's been adding pace at Surrey for some reason.
Well, that's very impressive, actually, for a first ball. No loosener there.
As I will now jingle him up. Oh, no, that is not him. That's Joe Root for some reason. I clicked Jamie Overton's jingle.
Begins with J.
It does. As that's left alone outside the off stump by Williamson. Young, even.
I think Jamie's had a really, really, really good season so far, and I think he's just been gaining in confidence. But the other thing that's changed with Jamie...
Sorry.
It's all right. The other thing that's changed with Jamie is that he's been much fitter of late. He used to just break down quite a lot.
As that straighter and Young defends on the front foot.
I mean, if Jacob's been working out, Jamie's off the Ripster scale, as it were. He's one massive unit.
Yeah, barrel-chested is the word, isn't it?
God, Lord B, you wouldn't want to be any more barreled than that. It's enormous.
Yes, but I think it's a lot to do with his fitness levels, and so it's been really, really good to see.
Yeah, he's got a good Fred Truman pair of gluteus maximus on him as well.
That was loose, though, from Overton, and cut hard from Young away for one of these.
My name is Latham. My name is Latham.
I like that jingle. It's a good jingle.
That was loose.
I got a tweet from Martin White saying best wishes to Jamie O on his debut. In unrelated news, did you know that the phrase "a face only a mother could love" was first recorded in April 1994 in Barnstable?
Yes, that's just broadly accurate.
Overton bowls straight with a little bit of swing, and Young defends nicely off the front foot. 87 miles an hour, that effort from Jamie Overton.
The Overtons always remind me slightly of Finchy from The Office. I mean, either of them, if you remember that character. Spatially speaking.
Been a long time since I've seen The Office.
That's fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
You also the actor also popped up in a very good film with goats in it.
Fuller delivery from Overton, defended by Young. End of Overton's first over in Test cricket. It's gone for 4, and we are 28-4-1. Annie?
Leah says, stroking it nicely is another phrase probably best avoiding. Oh no, I haven't avoided it. Josie Oak says, innuendo time, or is it your endo time, or in your hendo time? Oh no. I can never say his name, and he asked me questions. You see, I can't do it. He says, hi Annie, which is your favourite Overton? Craig, because he's playing for Somerset. Martin White says, it's well-known guerrilla folklore that the carpets at Gorilla Towers are second-hand, having been discarded from Sydenham Wetherspoons for being too sticky.
As Williamson defends a ball from Broad on the front foot. Yes, I think that may well be the case.
Jamie Overton failed to become the second player in this series after Matty Potts take a wicket with his first over in Test match cricket. That would have been some sort of obscure stat, but that one's behind us now.
Oh, thank God for that.
What a shame, what a shame.
What did you think to his first over then?
One loose ball, otherwise pretty good.
As in comes Broad to Williamson, defending on the back foot and getting a single nicely scampered there as Stokes runs round to the sort of vacant point region. It was a gap between point and mid off, and they'll get a single. Williamson moves to
I think sorry. So I think that that's the one thing we've been missing in this series. Really, this is a series that's had everything, but it hasn't had extreme pace yet. And although Jamie Overton may not absolutely express, top 80s will probably do, and I think maybe that can be a point of difference between the two sides, because you're going to have to really put your back in.
He can go over 90, and he probably will at one point. I definitely been missing pace, and that little bit of bounce and fire that both Wagner and Overton will bring.
Yes, indeed.
As in comes Broad, outside the off stump, left alone by Young. Good news, I have now discovered Jamie Overton's jingle. So that will.
Oh, thank God!
That will be
play
on
it at the next
and
over.
The next over. That will be done.
I'm quite excited to hear it actually, because I haven't heard it. Obviously,
it was in a slightly different area of the jingle page, and so I had to go hunting, and I have hunted Jamie Overton successfully.
You passed your first test at the jingle table.
Always nice to be exposed to a fresh jingle, as the porn bot would probably say.
Oh no. I quite like the porn bot. I think it adds character to the YouTube chat. As in comes Broad as well, and that's defended by Young. I also like how it adapts to what we're saying. I like how it has, it doesn't just post the same message over and over. It has attention to detail, and that's what's key to success for the porn bot.
You reckon?
That's what I think.
Were you going to ask me something?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you're ever going to make it to Gorilla Towers, do you think?
I am hopeful that next year I might make an expedition
really?
to the good old U of K. Yeah,
to come over for cricket reasons or just general?
A variety of reasons, I think.
Okay, that would be nice. I'm hoping to make it to Australia.
Oh, well, you'd be very welcoming.
Oh, as that short from Broad pulled, Young aimed a hard pull at it, bottom edged it onto his own feet, and it nearly ricocheted back onto his stumps. Young did not know where that went, and it could have been the end of his stay. As we have a look at the replay here, it was it's in the middle of his knees. He turns.
Very fortunate.
And
very fortunate.
Missed the stump.
Yeah, it got caught in his knees, didn't it?
A couple of inches.
Yeah.
That was a tight one.
His momentum actually sort of drew the ball away from the stumps as he swiveled round. Otherwise, it was heading directly for them at one point.
It would have been an unfortunate way to get out.
Broad.
Unfortunate to survive, yes. Glass half empty, half full.
Final ball of the over. In he comes. That one's short again. Head high this time. Pulled by Young. It won't go for a boundary as Jamie Overton is out there. I'm sure he'll appreciate that little warm-up jog before he starts his next over. As the 11th is finished. 30 for 1 New Zealand. Annie.
Yeah. Right. Warren says, is it the Ice Age in Melbourne? Is it?
Maybe. It's got to happen sometime.
As it's not been as cold as this since the 40s or something, I was hearing.
No, it's not that bad. When first they arrived in,
I think
first
people
they
were
arrived in
over-exaggerating.
Australia, it was snowing in the suburbs first they arrived in 2005.
The Jersey Jingler says, as a member of Generation X, I can assure you that black trainers are cool as long as they are Adidas Sambas. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not Generation X, so...
for his second over in Test
Matt Sill
cricket.
says, have we really had this many GPL entries already today? There's a chart he sent in. John Alford says, hi from a positively chilly Madrid at 26 degrees. As always, appreciate your commentary. Thank you.
Oh, that's zipped off the pitch from Overton, just off a length. It's come off the outside half of Young's bat off the back foot. Nice bit of extra pace there from Overton, and we will jingle him up with finally his jingle.
Jamie Overton can score a quick half-ton, less racist than his mother's other son. Jamie Overton.
As in comes Overton, that's a bit shorter, and pulled by Young. Will that run away? It may well do. No, Broad will catch up with it and get it back in. So they'll get through for 3, Young moving to 19.
That jingle slightly reminded me of the old Alexei Sales song. Albania, Albania, not nearly as repressive as Romania.
Yes. Oh, you've got a good memory there, Southee.
Yes, I hope those are the right words. I think they were.
Overton then turning at the top of his mark. Williamson facing up. It was Potts who had Williamson both innings in the one test that Williamson's played in this series. He, of course, came down with COVID in the second one. In comes Overton, and that's defended off the back foot outside the off stump by Williamson to backward point. No run.
Looks lively, that's for sure. Does he still come thundering in at 5 o'clock tonight, would you say, Annie?
I think he's got the ability to do that. But as you can see, he does bowl the odd loose ball and does leak a few runs here and there, as his brother does. So, but yes, I think he has the ability to stay thundering in. As
he thunders in, and a short ball, bit wide. Williamson ducks under it. That one only 82 miles an hour, and it goes through to Ben Foakes. Did umpire Kettleborough signal a no ball there? I don't think he did.
There was a signal of some sort. I'm not sure if he was saying something to him.
I think he might have been saying that was the one short ball of the over. I don't think that was signalled as a no ball.
Don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I saw the umpire moving his arm, doing something, but they often do that, umpires. They have been known.
They do, and when they're talking, they do as well sometimes.
As that's Fuller from Overton and driven, not timed, off the outside half of Williamson's bat. Jack Leach runs around from backward point to clear it up. They'll get through for a single, and Young will strike for the final ball.
Talking of umpires, we saw Dickie Bird on the balcony earlier, and he was cross-legged, and his trouser leg was so far up you could see his entire exposed shin. It was most off-putting.
Oh, that's almost Mickey Arthur-like.
Could be something to do with Dickie Bird's massive clock.
Massive clock.
Yes, which is at Headingley. He has a huge
You're
clock.
Just trying to provoke the poor bot now.
I am indeed, as that straighter from Overton. Young gets a bat down on it into the leg side. 1 run. Young nicks the strike. 35 for 1. New Zealand. Annie.
Yeah. Right. Hombre Nuevo has spelt out his name for me, and he's laughing at me. Leah says, "What are you, Eastern European?" But I think that's in response to someone else. Dave Wood says, "I feel a guerrilla exchange programme coming up."
Oh, we have an early bowling change. Jack Leach is going to come onto the bowling. The spinner getting involved early, and here's his jingle.
Coming up is a face that I know.
I'm trying to remember the last time they still go.
Now coming up is Jack Leach. On Jack Leach.
Very smooth jingle there for Jack Leach.
Trying to remember the last time he had a spinner on in the first hour of a test match.
I'm wondering what the reasons for this is.
Well, it's an interesting move from Stokes. Certainly one you wouldn't have seen in the root days, and one I don't think the opposing captain Williamson would make either. So it's bold from Stokes. I like it personally. I'm a fan of spin. I like him getting Leach involved in the game early, and we'll see if there's anything there for him as he's into Young with root at slip. Oh! There's a big shout, and he's given him! He's given him with the first ball, LBW! He's missed the inside edge of the bat, and it looks pretty plumb to me. Is Young going to review?
It looked out.
I think he is reviewing.
It has been reviewed, but it looked pretty good unless he's got an inside edge. Shout Leach sliding a dart through.
Inspired decision.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Annie. We will take all the credit for that one. As it turns a little bit, Alim does, the third umpire. He's hit his own pad. Yeah, there's a bit of turn there. That looks pretty plumb to me. That is
looks
good.
Out.
He's hit
that
his
looks
own
like it's
pad.
pitch middle and hitting middle. It doesn't look like it's too high. It looks excellent.
It's one of those ones that definitely looks out to the naked eye.
It's just
you never know once you get the whole thing.
Yeah, but, naked eyes are dodgy, aren't they?
He is on the front foot, so we await to
no
discover
inside edge. Encouraging signs for Leach is that there was turn. It straightened immediately
right.
in the first hour of play.
Even more encouraging, the guy's been given out. Here comes the replay.
As it's in front, let's have a look. It's hitting middle of middle. Jack Leach with the first ball, of his spell, and
halfway up middle.
Oh, fantastic!
And in,
I'm so pleased for him.
And there goes Will Young.
You silly little boy! What on earth were you playing at? Oh.
He is
and it's interesting because Will was starting to play a bit more positively, wasn't he? And they obviously thought, okay, let's bring in the spin and see how that goes.
Will Young gone for 20, New Zealand 35 for 2, and an inspired bowling change by Ben Stokes, which we were unanimously in favour of. As Jack Leach takes a wicket with the first ball of his spell.
To be fair, we were quite.
I think we were all interested by it anyway.
I'd like to challenge social media to find the first time a spin bowler came on in the first hour of a test match and took a wicket with his very first ball. There's a challenge.
Yeah, no, that would be quite a tricky one, wouldn't it? I'll just go through a few tweets while we're... Warren says, I'm not watching the game. Was that ball caught in his knees or his armpit, Annie? Because he calls me Gorilla Doctor because I'm not very good on my anatomy. So thanks for pointing that out, Warren. Old Fart of Play say, can you say a big hi to my wife, Jackie Shaw? She's sitting outside with me listening to your broadcast. You all sound a lot more exciting commentating on Test cricket.
That's because we are.
Hello, Jackie Shaw.
Hello, Jackie Shaw.
Hope you're having a lovely time listening to us.
I hate to have been shirking my responsibilities, but I didn't even bother with the ODI series from the Netherlands. I have not commentated on a single minute of the hit and giggle nonsense. I am back for the real cricket.
Yeah.
If only I could say the same.
I can say the same.
No, I was commentating on all three. It was the first match in particular was excellent.
Which one of
the one where England scored 498?
Oh yes. I wouldn't call that hit and giggle. I'd call it fairly weird thing to have happen yesterday. It was glorious sunshine here, and I was thinking, why are England over in the Netherlands playing cricket?
Quite suited me at 1 o'clock in the morning in Melbourne.
Well, I'm sure it suited you at 1 o'clock in the morning. Just seems a bit weird. Everything seems a bit weird at the moment.
I think we've taken the drinks break.
I can do some more tweets then.
You can. And then, after the completion of this over, post drinks break, we'll have a little change.
Oh, okay. Well, that's me gone then, yeah. Leah says, bringing on Leach this early is nice, but not brave enough. Let him open the bowling. Oh, dear. Messenger says, I think it's fair to say we get a lot more excited commentating on Test cricket too. Yeah, I think so. GC Radio Naked Fun Pornbot says, I coming down under. Do you have a spare room, Forthy?
Yes, my wife loves the house of Pornbot, given the opportunity. Absolutely.
Really?
The new man is to the crease. We'll just jingle him up quickly.
Devon, Conway's here with a double tunnel debut. You'll never ever see batting
like you get from Devon Conway.
Devon Conway with his pitiful Test average of 55. I'm beginning to suspect that the porn bot is not in fact a bot and is written by a real person.
Well, you know that there are two porn bots, you're probably aware, Jacob. One is a porn bot and the other is a human masquerading as a porn bot.
I was not aware of that at all, Forthy. What are you insinuating?
That's how it worked.
I know nothing about the porn bot. As Jack Leach is into Devon Conway and defended by Conway nicely. This will be an interesting challenge for Jack Leach. He was swept and reverse swept by Conway. I think he did eventually get him out, but his average to left-handers post-pant is pretty poor.
Nice bit of alliteration.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
Post-pant, pretty poor.
We'll have to sanitise this microphone as that's beautifully played by Conway, but only as far as mid-on. Stuart Broad running around. It was a nice little on drive with a flicky wrist, but the diving Leach couldn't stop it, but it only went as far as Broad. Got a couple more balls of Leach's over as that's slower and wider, tossed up and driven mercilessly by Devon Conway away, and it will go for one of these. That didn't actually give you the number. It was a four.
I don't think he'll mind that at all, actually, Jack Leach.
No.
Chasing that ball.
Interestingly, Ben Foakes, I think it was, said that Leach, as he's in, and that's a bit quicker and flatter and off the outside edge of Conway's bat for no run. But Foakes was saying that Leach was getting more turn when he was bowling a little slower. So it'll be interesting to see how he varied his pace. He's been criticised for a lack of variation. I think he's trying to work on that now, as that is slower and defended well outside the off stump by Conway. That is the end of the over, 39 for 2 New Zealand, and the end of this little stint. So the Bear will be taking my place. Messers will come onto the socials, and we welcome, for the first time this Test match, Gary Naylor to the Sunrising.
Goodbye all.
Gary, you're lowering your standards coming to us after being in the press box at Lords and at Headingley, at Trent Bridge.
Well, I would like to come back with a rejoinder, but I haven't got one. I'm just delighted to be back at Guerrilla Cricket, albeit not back at Guerrilla Cricket, if you see what I mean.
What are you doing today? Why aren't you here?
Well, today I'm going to Lords this evening to see a bit of T20 stuff, which always nice at Lords in the evening. If the weather holds up, it's been a bit in and out today in London. Rather like the New Zealanders at Leeds, a bit in and out.
Indeed. Who's supposed to be doing ball by ball? Me?
I think it's you, Bear.
Oh, okay. It is. It's been another one of those days in here. I need to talk to you about the GPL. I'll let Jamie Overton bowl his first ball. He's slightly more handsome and bigger than his brother. Twin, even. He's in, bowls short. And it doesn't really get up. It goes through to the keeper and there's no run. So what pace are we going to turn? 84 miles an hour? I thought he was 90 miles an hour, man. Annie, I've been sold a pup.
He'll get there.
It's the hill. It's the hill.
So let me tell you a little bit. Messi, did you take a screenshot of all those entries?
No, but somebody sent it in. Matt Searle.
Can you send it in again, and someone send it to me at the email address for us?
It's working okay now, though.
It is working okay now. So
yes,
that's left
it's £132.
I know. Yeah, but all those entries that were in earlier haven't been registered now because So what happened is on the first day of the last test, stupidly, I put the competition in the first day of this test, and I didn't think of it because I thought it's a database; it will just run it through anyway. It's date based. But then, so the competition was day one of the last test instead of day one of this test. So I changed the numeration of it to day 6 and then set up day 1, and consequently that seems to have fucked it, as that is driven out to cover, and there is no run by Williamson, but now I've changed it back to day 1, and I've made today day 2 it says on the thing, but it's actually day 1, and it's picking up entries again, but now it's not showing me the ones that I've lost, so I need them, and at the end of the day we can work it all out and I can reset it tomorrow. With a bit of luck, I can just make someone a winner today and set up, and if no one wins today, I can then set it up tomorrow with the pot that it should be, and it should all run hunky-dory.
So you've actually received all the money from those people?
Yes, we've received all the tickets from those people, I think, anyway. As that was left through to the keeper and there's no one, I presume they did.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There must be about 35 entries there.
Yes, exactly.
Which would affect the pot as well.
Precisely. But I can work that all out mathematically. If someone wins, I can pay them out what they're due. I just need to know what those entries were. Anyone entering from now, I will see. But those ones I've lost. So I need that image so that we can work it out at the end of the day, and then I can square it all up and get it all working again tomorrow. Unless
I can send you the image, but it hasn't got names on it. There.
That's fucking annoying because I need the names. As that is played out to mid-wicket and there's no run. I need an image with the names on if possible.
No, we can't get that. You're the only person who can get that.
Oh fuck.
So I've sent you the image on your WhatsApp, but
and now I've lost it, you see. I can't see those anymore because I've piddled around with the name of the competition. So if people can be honest, you don't have to re-enter, but if you can send us in what your entries were now, then it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day we're not going to take them at the end of the day. I'm sorry about this, it's all my fault.
I will put out a tweet explaining that and attaching a copy of Matt Searle's tweet so that people may pick that up anyhow.
Do you want some thoughts about Jamie Overton?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, he does seem to be struggling a little bit for rhythm here compared to what he was doing earlier in the season when he was in tremendous rhythm. Jason Hiscox and I were at the Oval seeing him bowl very fast there, and I've got a suspected reason which I'll give you straight after this ball.
Okay. Oh, well, that's decent ball. Pitching the bat off, comes back in. I mean, Conway leaves it well. He leaves it on length because it's gone over the top and middle and off through the keeper and there's no run.
It's because he played a bit of T20, and I think for a bowler who relies on rhythm, a fast bowler, it actually messes you up a little bit to have to go through all those variations in a T20 game. So I'm not making excuses for him here, but he's a quicker bowler than what we've seen so far, and I think we may see him bowl more quickly later in this test.
Well, hopefully, if that's the case, he'll get some rhythm back quite reasonably quickly.
I've got some thoughts about Jack Leach, but you might want to do some tweets before.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. Matt Searle says, with a client meeting this morning, I've had to go early with the GPL and hope for the best. Obviously, this is very different from my wait until 12:50 and then hope for the best strategy. Somewhere Gary Naylor is shaking his head, Warren said. I'm not sure what that was in relation to.
Well, Leach starts another over, and he's around the wicket to Kane Williamson.
Well, it might be about Jack Leach, which I'll come to after the next one.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had Matt Parkinson in the first test. Let's go on to Matt Parkinson. It's defended back down the track.
Yeah, I actually thought it was a defensive move bringing Leach on early, because in both the previous 2 test matches, when he's come on, the New Zealanders have sought to get after him So bringing him on in the first hour, I think, was about just giving him a chance to settle.
Yeah, quite possibly. That's a decent ball on a roundabout off stump, defended, no run.
And what he did was just bowl a completely straight ball, that first ball. I disagree with the commentators who said it turned. It didn't turn, it slid on. It was a good ball, it was hitting middle stump, I'm not denying that.
Well, it straightened enough, because from that angle, if it hadn't straightened, it would have gone down leg side, Gary.
Well,
that's not to say that he didn't just miss a straight ball. That's played up to mid-off and there's no run.
We'll see. I mean, I think it was a very different move from Stokes to just use a spinner at Headingley. For years, they never played at all.
Well, indeed. That's defended back up the track again by Williamson. There's no run.
But I think it was the right move, just to give Leach a bit of confidence, because if he'd come on mid-afternoon and they'd taken him for 4 or 5 boundaries in his first 3 overs, we'd be back where we started.
Well,
and as it is, he's got a wicket, got some confidence.
And maybe, that's a poor ball though, dropped short, too flat and too wide, but Williamson misses out really, hits it to point, and there's no run, and that's a maiden. Back to you, Messi.
Okay, like Roller says, first baller from Leach. What the fuck? I was fearing the word. Roger Melly says, hello, good evening, and bollocks, that ball was missing off and missing leg, but it wasn't missing middle.
No.
Hornbot says, hidden giggles with Mistress Annie. Click here. Leah says, New Zealand are ruining the exclusion of Ajaz Patel, and after that Leach wicket and things. Yeah,
not a ball has turned. Not a single one.
And in response to Forthy's question as to whether some other spinner had come on within the first hour and taken the ball with his first wicket, I was able to discover that Intikab Alam in 1959 took a wicket with his first ball in Test cricket.
Well, there you go.
First hour of the Australian
innings.
innings.
Now that's full and across Conway. I was a jab at it. I don't know if he got any bat on it, and I don't know if it probably bounced just before it got to Foakes anyway. So no chance of being out.
Of course, some of us have seen Jack Leach open the bowling and the batting, as he did at Lords against Ireland.
Indeed. Now, Matt Parkinson bowled in that first test. I've got to say, Gary, I wasn't that impressed.
Yeah, the best way to judge a spinner is to bring them in at short notice.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, in his defence. Oh, now that's come back from Jamie Overton. Probably pitched outside leg. May have been going on to hit the stumps, probably too high. But that'll be encouraging for him. No run.
Yeah, what he did show is some of the things that Leach hasn't got, which are variations, drift and dip. And watching Leach, as I have done both at Trent Bridge and at Lords in the first 2 test matches, there's so little variation. It's the same ball over and over again, darted in.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'll give you that. It's defended outside the off stump and there's no run.
You know, he's got 25 test matches now. He's an experienced bowler. He's a decent bloke and he's a team man and he's very likeable. We know all of that, and he's got a big heart and a heart of gold. But he just does not have the bag of tricks that spinners should have. And you see someone like Rayan Ahmed at 17 playing for Leicestershire, and he's got more tricks than Leach. I'm not saying he's ready for the test match arena yet, but your first criterion for picking a spinner, I'll come back,
sweep the keeper and there's no run,
is can he spin the ball? And I really don't think Leach can spin the ball. Certainly not without a lot of help from the wicket.
Well, yeah, but
these lads can. You know, Carkinson can, Ahmed can. There are other spinners around the circuit who can, and it's no good picking spinners who don't spin the ball and then expecting them to get wickets in the test arena. It's not going to happen, not regularly. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not against what you say, and I understand what you were saying about Parkinson, and he was went out down leg side, attempted pull by Conway, could have been strangled. Jamie Overton thinks maybe there was a bit of glove on it, but it wasn't. Sweep the keeper and there's no run. Yeah, I mean, he was pulled out of whatever he was doing on a Thursday afternoon and told to get down to Lords, and that wasn't great preparation. But I just didn't see it. I just thought he bowled too slow. His action was from the hand and not the shoulder.
Yeah, there's this myth about bowling too slow. It never used to happen until they had the rev counters and the speed guns.
Well, no. Oh, now that's another ball that's coming back into... Good set of balls here from Jamie Overton. Not the quickest, but they're certainly getting a little bit of movement in the air, coming back into the left-hander. Conway managed to get some bat square on the leg side, and they get a single.
If he bowled so slow, you wouldn't. And I don't want to make this about Parkinson, but there are things in cricket that get talked about that annoy me. Holding an end is one, and another one is bowling too slow. If he bowled too slow, then he wouldn't have over 100 first-class wickets at 23.
Well, no. Well, I'll argue with that. That's because it's at a slightly lower level. And at a slightly higher level, you need a slightly better pace. I would say that's true. And the other thing...
Slightly lower level than England playing against club cricketers in Holland earlier this week.
Well, Leach has got 300 at 27. So, The other interesting thing is Leach's and Lyons figures are pretty similar in terms of average and strike rate.
Oh, there you go. As he's been lifted over the top by Conway, over mid-off, all the way down to the long-off boundary, and it'll be 4 runs.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Came down the wicket quite nicely. I mean, you wouldn't expect a lot of turn from even most spinners on a first-day wicket.
No, but you've got to expect some drift, some dip, and some variation.
Well, I agree. He doesn't get enough dip. That's because he bowls too fast. As he just knocked out square on the clipped round a corner by Conway down to land just behind square and a single.
One of my problems with Leach is you can just preempt exactly what's going to happen. What Conway wanted at the start of that over, he said, I'm going to hit him for 4 over his head, and then I'm going to milk a single on the leg side. And because you know exactly where Leach is putting the ball, he could do exactly that. That was exactly what Conway wanted to do. And it gives so much of the initiative to the batsman, because you know what's coming.
Well, yeah, smart bowler. Well, test that out, though. That's a better ball by Leach. Slightly slow, you see, 55 miles an hour. I reckon that peak pace for a spinner at test level is 53 to 55. 57 to 60 is just too fast because you have to bowl too flat, unless you've got extraordinary revs on the ball, in which case you can get it down. That's not a bad ball by Leach, gives it a bit of flight. It's played up to mid-on, there's no run.
It's a half volley, and Williamson hasn't driven any balls because he's not in the greatest of rhythm. He's missed some matches, and he's not driving the ball, unlike Conway, who is driving the ball. So there's a bit of batsman involved there. I think that's still a bit full for me.
Right on the front foot, and defended back to the bowl, and there's no run. Yeah, I mean, this is England, Gary. I've spin bowled for 30 years. The pitches are generally quite slow, and this is, I think this is the point that maybe you do miss as Leach is in, and it's defended out on the offside, and there's no run. Nothing worse than being hit off the back foot, I think, as a spinner. That's the cardinal sin. That means you're bowling too short. You want to drag the guy. Well, hold on, let me finish.
Before you go on, Bear, can I just speak briefly into the GPL?
Yes.
So we now have showing on the screen a jackpot of £134. So there's been a number of entries post-disaster. Pre-disaster, there were 36 entries, which would increase the jackpot by another £18, so 152. If you were in the GPL and it's not showing up, I've sent a tweet asking you to tell us the numbers you had. But the other thing is you should have received a confirmation email telling you the numbers you had anyhow. And I don't know, Bear, if there's a copy kept in the system of the confirmation emails that are sent.
No, not at all. But if you could forward that back to gorillacricket@gmail.com, then I can collate the numbers through the afternoon, and then we'll have a fair pot at the end, and it'll all be fine. As that's pulled down to deep square leg, where Potts is fielding, I think. There'll be a single.
I was watching Sunil Narayan on Tuesday night at the Oval, and he is a genius of a bowler. It's the right word for him. He is in complete control. And I was right behind the bowler's arm on the 3rd level at the Oval. perfect view.
Daryl Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla Cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick Guerrilla Cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Vian, Austin Ian, Guerrilla Cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Daryl Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla Cricket.
Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket and to Headingley for day 5 of the third test between England and New Zealand. Bit of a delayed start, but we are due to be getting underway at 12 noon. England need just 113 more runs to complete a third successful chase of more than 250. Win visas England at 90%, New Zealand at 9% and 1% the draw. Joe Root and the Bishop of Rome are well set, but that 9% for New Zealand will grow if Southee, Boult, Bracewell and Wagner can get some early wickets. I'm Tony Bishop 1, and with me are the patriarchal poet of Perth, Messi Jez. Hi, Messrs.
Hello, Tony. Welcome home.
Welcome home, thank you.
He's been hobnobbing with the royalty.
I've been hobnobbing, I have. And the bear on a bike. Parts of whom I saw when I arrived this morning that I really was not expecting to see.
I was hot.
It was pretty horrific, I've got to tell you.
I was wandering around with my top off because I've been sweating.
It was big and it wobbled, that's all I'm going to tell you.
It's smaller than it was, is all I can
say. We are talking about your tummy, let's make that very clear. Right, well, goodness me, where do we start? I guess it's all about wickets, isn't it, Messrs?
Yes, and hope. I mean, it's true that the last rain interval we had just about ruined New Zealand's second innings, so maybe something will happen, but frankly, the way England's been batting, it would take a lot to trouble them right now. So, fingers crossed, or it might rain again.
Well, we're looking at the umpires as we speak, and there is mizzle in the air. And I knew this was fucking going to happen. As soon as we went live, it was going to start raining again. And that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I think the covers are on again. Umpires Erasmus, and it's the Kettler, isn't it? Am I right? Is it that Richard Kettleborough? Well, they just appear to be wandering back. Marius Erasmus, the man from Bolland, has got a rather grumpy look on his face.
He's always got a grumpy look on his face.
A rather florid face, but nonetheless grumpy.
It looks like it's had a lot of wine and his mouth just downturns like a grumpy fucker.
Well, that would describe me at the moment, I think. Well, the wine.
Yours is.
I don't know about being grumpy.
Yours is hangover induced.
You're not a grumpy fucker, Tony.
No,
You're never a grumpy.
I'm not grumpy. I'm not grumpy. I might be hungover, but I'm not grumpy. We were expecting to kick off at 12. I've just carefully redone the bloody rotors.
I warned you.
And it's absolutely sod's law, isn't it?
You just got to do this shit on the fly, you know.
Do it on the fly. Well, let's chat anyway for a wee bit. So I just asked you a question, Messers. I guess I'll modify it now. It is all about wickets, but mizzle in the air, floodlights on. That can substantially change conditions, can't it?
Well, it could. I mean, if it was interesting, Trent Boult didn't seem to be swinging it at all yesterday, the way he had in the first innings, with that devastating spell where he bowled 3 batsmen. If he could get a bit of swing today, it could change the whole tenor of the game, because I still think he's very much the key. Southee and Wagner haven't really had much of a game, and Bracewell hasn't had a huge impact either. So it's really down to Boult and whether he can just find something.
Well,
but you know, this ball's fairly old as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just about to say. The ball is 39 overs old, and that's what's really against them, isn't it? More than anything else, you'd say it's halfway through its life, and it's probably getting. It's been noticeably. It's been a hell of a lot easier to bat when as soon as the ball has got over about 15, 20 overs old. So. I mean, Root and Pope have got to get themselves in again. Pope will be looking for a second ton in the series. Root, didn't score any runs in the first. I'm sure he wants to get close to Daryl Mitchell's. Well, he can't get close to Daryl Mitchell now, can he, really? Because there's not enough runs to play with, unless he scored pretty much all of them, I'd have thought. But Pope will be looking for that ton. One thing I do want to mention is a tweet here from... which I have to concur with. I'm looking forward to seeing Gary next time. The Jersey Jingler says, when I tweeted that Leach would get a fifer at Gary Naylor, scoffed and clattered on for a solid 15 minutes about how terrible Leach's bowling was. Well, not only has he got a 5, he's got 2 fifers and a 10 in an innings. And what I will say is spin bowlers feed off confidence of their captain. There's nothing worse than a spin bowler getting 5 or 6 overs and then being taken off.
Remind me what you used to bowl?
Left arm spin. And the one thing you do want is to get solidly into a spell and think, at that age you can bowl forever. If you get 15 overs, you're happy because you believe you're in the game. Well, everyone does when they're bowling. And once you start getting in the wickets, the juices start flowing and you're looking for more. So, having been given his head, he's done the business, and I think we have to congratulate him on that.
Well, you've gone straight to bullet point 2 of my talking points.
Well, yes.
which was Jack Leach, 10 wickets.
Yes.
So you're ahead of me. Shall we talk about Mitchell and Blundell as well, who seem to be the cavalry for New Zealand in literally every game so far, but crucially not the successful cavalry. So 3 times. This will be the 3rd time, maybe 3rd time lucky, where vital runs. I mean, Mitchell 190, 108, 109. A 62 not out, a 56. Blundell 106 and 88 not out, a 55. I mean, when they come together, they're like sort of, Morecambe and Wise. I don't know.
Well,
Abbott and Costello.
It was interesting when we first came in. They were talking about this, and this is exactly England's problem for the last 2 years. Your top 4 fail, someone's got to dig you out, and they've dug them out every time. And unfortunately, it's not quite been enough every time. Bairstow's dug us out. It's been a fascinating series, hasn't it? New Zealand have kind of played traditional Test cricket, got to some decent scores, and then England have gone Burko and managed to rein them in going from 55 to 6 to having a 30-run lead in the first innings of this game was, 6 months ago you'd have said nope, that ain't happening. Well, we can officially say that the start's been delayed as well. The umbrellas are back up. Which is a real shame.
Grumpy Yorkshire folk.
Well, they did
huddling together.
We did hear from Josh, didn't we, that if rain came back, which it looks like it has,
lunch
then
at 12:20.
They might take lunch early at 12:20, which will give them another hour to get this through and cleared up again, and hopefully get a decent start after the break.
That is all entirely probable.
One thing I was going to say, you mentioned, the Bairstow and his near approach. One of the things that I saw Mike Atherton talking about this earlier today, and I think it's really interesting. He said, is it actually going to be a requirement for anybody batting for England to take that McCallum approach? to go crazy, because that's going to mean a whole lot of people in county cricket are going to think their way into the Test team is not through being a solid opener, but by being spectacular and successful in scoring at 5 runs and over. It's a really interesting question.
I don't think they will have to. I don't think they will. I mean, when McCullum played, not everyone played like that, did they? I mean, you've got to have horses for courses, and people play their natural game. As long as he's got root is never going to be a man who smashes it around like Bairstow or Stokes, but he's a man who works at 360. I mean, he did another fucking reverse sweep for 6 yesterday, didn't he, of Wagner? So I mean,
was amazing.
Exactly. I mean, the guy is so talented. You just let Root go along, and he's not going to score slowly, even though he's not going to be fireworks. Then you've got the fireworks of Bairstow. You've got the fireworks of Stokes in the middle order, which is where you want it, really. You know, the last 2 of your top 6 are the guys who come in when the ball's old and fly it about, and those 2 can fly it about. Ollie Pope's not slow when he gets going.
Do you think they'll be able to adapt or modify that approach? I mean, if they're on a viper's nest in Chennai, is it going to be all rather different?
Well, if you look at how England played in the last series in India, it might be advantageous to try and play some fucking IPL in India next time you go there, because if you're only going to be out there for 30 overs, you might as well go an 8 and over and try and set something, because if it's bouncing and turning, you're better off trying to get down the pitch and at the pitch of the ball, or trying to put the bowler off his lengths, because if you let them bowl at you, you're going to get one that's going to get you out. So you might as well take it back to the bowlers. It's a strategy that's worth trying out there.
Yeah. I'd go along with that. I mean, another thing I think probably worth a quick chat is just the general spirit of this series, by and large. Both sides seem to have played it with a smile on their face, and a generally friendly but intensely competitive competition. Very unlike playing Australia.
Yeah.
Well, yes, no.
How so?
My view is, well, I think the Ashes tests were played in a different spirit as well. I think Root and Cummins both went into those tests with an intention not to make it personal, not to get really grumpy and nasty. And that was much friendlier than, generally speaking, we've seen in Ashes tests previously.
I'd say
the West Indies series was good. Yes, I think there seems to be a move towards, and maybe it's because people play with each other so much in IPL and so on.
Yeah, probably.
Less personality coming into it, and more of a genial atmosphere.
Yeah, no, I would 100% go along with that. The Bears already leaving us. Why don't you update us who is with us, and we will
yes,
decide
indeed.
What to do from there.
Mog comes in and says, who in hell would opt to play cricket in England in June? Also, hello. Mind you, we've been pretty lucky this June, haven't we? Not too much interruption. Warren says, good morning all. The pawn bot is with us. It says, Bear is balls out for the Bishop here. And in response to your tweet, Tony, for Guerrilla Cricket, and we're live for the finale of the 3rd test, Mog says, are we just?
Yeah, well, we are live. We're live. However, well, you mentioned the pawn bot. We were going to play the new pawn bot jingle, actually, but the Bears disappeared, and I can't quite reach across.
We'll do that in a minute.
When he comes back, we will.
Our friend Brian in Brisbane via Northampton is on YouTube with us. He says, I hope Tony feels better soon. Maybe there's a hair of the dog left in the fridge there in Guerrilla Towers, because he sent some beers yesterday.
Yeah, I think so. I might well take him up on that.
And every Kiwi is doing a rain dance to see a draw happen.
Are they, though? Are they? I mean, I don't know. The nature of this, well, I suppose you can argue that there's, World Championship test points and what have you at stake.
Gary's listening.
Gary, is he? He's still going to be arguing that Leach is rubbish.
He says, I'm not always right, shock. And his bowler...
Can we have that again?
And his...
You might want to
Gary
retweet
Naylor says, I'm not always right, shock.
Brilliant. You've got to retweet that.
And his bowling in this match was largely very different in terms of line and length, and thus drift and turn. Fair play to him, but I'd like to see more of this new Leach before I reverse my view entirely.
Fair enough.
I've got to say one thing that makes a massive difference in terms of Leach's bowling is that he had some runs to bowl at. Basically, no spinner has had any runs to bowl at for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, this is it, isn't it? I mean, we've struggled to get 300 for 2 years, and then we scored all those runs on flat decks at the end of Root's thing in the West Indies. And in these games, we've chased 287, 200 odd in the last game, and if we get it today, it'll be 296 or something. We're chased in a 4th innings. I mean, this is it for England. It's kind of unheard of. So it's like.
Good. Were you there to hear Gary's response?
I've just seen it. I went up to tweet feed. Yeah, if you're listening, Gary, it's only light-hearted. But I was arguing for Leach. You got to give a bowler his head, and it's difficult to judge any spinner for England in the last 2 years. I don't think, to be fair, Root just didn't know how to bowl a spinner. He never really gave him his head. It was always like it was reluctance to put on the spinner unless it was himself. And in fact, sometimes he put himself on ahead of Leach, didn't he? So I mean, that's not going to engender any bloody confidence in your spinner who's in your side. He thinks he's just hanging in there as a spare wheel.
We can tell you very quickly. There is cricket at Taunton, 42 for 2, South Africa. In the
and Izzy Wong has got a wicket in her first.
She did indeed. 1 for 8 for her.
Test.
Goodall and Luce are both in at the crease.
That's Wolfhard
for South Africa. We were going to play. We've already had a message from the porn bot. So I was just wondering if you wanted to unveil. Obviously, we have our spanner men. Our
spanner men have got themselves a jingle.
Always primed, ready to help. So we've got. Jeff Perkins has done a little something for him.
Yeah, this is for our spanner men.
It's tea break on a Saturday, and Missy Jez requests a song. There's an old man who is up for it once he takes a hit on his bong. Missy, I can sing you a parody about a brave discard at men who cannot control his own spanner because he is senile and dim. Koala, la, koala, koala, la, koala, la, la. Pissed off the bot, I'm the spanner man. Banish some accounts tonight, 'cause we're not in the mood for a parody, and Hornbot has us figured right. Koala la koala, koala la koala la la.
What a work of art.
That's a work of art for us Spannermen on YouTube.
Thank you, Spannermen.
I've got to tell you,
and lady, of course.
Yes, and Spanner woman.
Perko's a genius. Not only did he compose all of that and record it, he did it within an hour and a half of me asking him for it. That's fantastic.
It is. It's an amazing turnaround. It's good stuff. The other big news today is, of course,
Owen Morgan.
Well, yeah, bloody hell, I can't believe we didn't even open the show with it. I mean, it's not the test.
I did think about that.
Yeah,
I did think about it. Then I thought, well, no, let's deal with the test first.
Okay. Well, the big news is
in front of us.
that my grating at Owen Morgan seems to have worked because he's retired.
Well,
and now he has my respect back.
The word is he will announce it tomorrow. So it hasn't been, but it seems to be in all the news channels, and he's obviously said
I'm going to retire. And it's the right thing to do. And stupidly, they picked fucking Mott just bloody 2 months ago, giving him a contract. Why? I don't know what. Maybe he was trying to hang in there, but they should have just waited a little bit longer and let him retire and boot him upstairs and let him run the team from the outside. Then it would be the same group of players. There's a ready-made replacement and a better replacement, you'd probably say, in Liam Livingstone, as I was saying the other day, who slots in nicely at number 5 slot.
I think there's a counter argument to that, though.
Me too.
I absolutely agree with you. The time is right. His legacy is secured. he has been magnificent. He hasn't just won a tournament; he's completely transformed
English
an
ODI
approach
cricket, hasn't he? Yeah.
English white ball cricket. So his legacy is 100% assured. To go out without tarnishing that with a string of low scores and limping off with a dodgy groin every so often.
Well, he's done that already.
However, you sort of need a clean break. So to bump somebody straight upstairs runs the risk of him not quite being, of him still being around somehow. Do you know what I mean?
Can they review that? Sorry. That's plum as plum can be.
Well, I'm glad I made that point.
Well, no. I was listening, but I was just watching TV.
I totally agree with you, Tony. I was going to say the same thing. That if you put a captain into a coaching position, there's a real risk that the old guard will still be the ones who are favoured in terms of the way the team runs.
So for Mott,
and I think it's, he can play a part on the coaching team without any doubt. But I think give him a chance. And the other thing is, just because he's a good captain doesn't mean he's inside edge, isn't it?
No.
Doesn't mean that that he'll make a good coach.
No,
you just never know.
I don't think you really need to coach this side. That's the thing. I mean, that was kind of the point that Rob Key or someone made, wasn't it? Or maybe it was BMAC, wasn't it? I mean, it was basically saying you don't need to coach this side. They know exactly what they're doing, and to a certain degree, you don't. ODIs aren't really that complicated. Same as T20 aren't really that complicated. See ball, hit ball. Try and keep. Yes, as plum can be. I told you. It's hitting middle stump. South Africans have lost a third wicket and now 44 for 3. Terrible umpiring. Absolutely terrible umpiring.
Yeah, she's doing the old. What's her name? Joel Wilson signal.
Yeah.
The patented Joel Wilson.
I got it wrong.
Crossing of the chest.
Crossing my arms. Yeah, possibly.
Well, I just tweeted out that I thought there would be a collective sigh of relief around the country with Morgan going. Because I think pretty well everybody reached the conclusion that he'd reached his use-by date as a player in the team.
Well, yeah, and it was becoming more and more prevalent in the press as well, and he must, people must tell him, or he must get that inclination. And he must know as well. I mean, everyone else is bashing hundreds against the Dutch, and he comes out and scores, 3 or none in about 5
No, 2
balls.
ducks.
2 ducks, there you go, in about 5 balls or something.
2 ducks and then a dodgy injury the next day, which didn't stop him playing a benefit match on Sunday.
I mean, I guess it's hard to give up what you've been doing, and kudos for him for realising it. Maybe a couple of months too late, but there was nothing going on in the meantime, so we haven't played a lot of white ball cricket, and he's played enough now to realise that his time has come.
And you can't judge the side really on the basis of the Netherlands, so those new players will get a run definitely in the T20s and the ODIs against India. Louis just messaged me and said not sure what game the umpire was watching there.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think he's obviously watching it with all us. I know he's working from home today. So
Warren has just tweeted, Hales must be praying that I'm more than fucks right off.
Well, there's an interesting one. I mean, is this the clean break that gets Hales back into the fold?
Well, the problem with Hales is he's 35 now, isn't he? Yeah. And Phil Salt is how old? I don't know, he's in his 20s, isn't he? And you do, I mean, Phil Salt probably won't be in the starting 11 because Bairstow gets his slot back. And Darryl Milan probably stays in the T20 side, but maybe not on the ODI side because I know Root still wants to play. And Root is good enough in an ODI side, maybe not. I mean, I'd still have him in a T20 side to be fair, but they seem to have gone past that. But I think Root gets his spot back in the ODI side as well, so probably Milan and Salt. I mean, I would give Salt a run out against India and Pakistan in these upcoming ODIs and T20s that we're going to be playing up until the World Cup, just to see how he does against better attacks, see if he can still do it. Because obviously it was the Netherlands, and he got a fine ton. He's done it against the West Indies, so there's no reason to think he shouldn't. He can't.
Yep.
So I would, he might be the next cab off the rank, and Hales, Owen Morgan might have retired too late for Hales to get another run.
Indeed.
So what do we want to do, guys? What's our plan?
We just got hey. News is in. Yesterday, Andrew Waring and Mark Selleck became Patreons. Today, Alex Sutcliffe and Pokey Bumfinger have both become Patreons.
Well, welcome.
Fucking brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, guys.
Does Mr. Bumfinger does he transfer money under his name of Mr. Bumfinger, or do we get to know Mr. P. Bumfinger is really called.
Well, the annoying thing is that, I think Pokey he's using the same name on Discord, but everyone has different names to what their tweet handles are.
Yeah, you never know who you're talking to.
They have different names on YouTube. It gets really bloody confusing as to who's who.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that Brian in Brisbane, is that Brian?
Yes.
Yeah, you
is.
see?
Yes.
There you go.
It is, absolutely.
Brian 001.
And he's actually in
Brian.
Northampton.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Leah says, hello everyone. Frantically working on a rain hex to save New Zealand's blushes. You may thank me later, Spinner Grace. To which Spinner Grace says, if this doesn't work, I'm going to request that you revise your hexes and curses section. And Omrenuova says, hello fantastic pilots of Planet GC. Thank you, Omrenuova. I hope the hangover's gone now. Just on that, we won't actually be opening the GPL today, given that we've got a very likely outcome ahead of us, but we will on Friday for the first day of the India Test match be in there with a GPL pot of 180 quid if you don't mind.
Right, well, I'm still going to say, what shall we do? Shall we keep chittering and chattering? Let's have a quick look at any news updates for a second, so we can let you know
I've got it
if there's any play due. There is a chance, I suppose, it could end as a draw. The last I heard was likely to remain drizzly until 2 o'clock at least. So if it remains drizzly until 2, let's assume they can't come straight back on. There may be no play now till 3.
Well, in that case, you know what this calls for, don't you?
Yes.
Are we going to go for very, very dark?
No. We're going to in terms of what we're going to when the rain comes. No, I'm just thinking.
I've got to confess to a vested interest. I took a fiver on the draw at 20-1 last night when I saw the forecast.
Well, actually, let's have a quick look while you look for whatever you're looking for there. I'm going to see if our friends at Winviz have responded with every drop of rain, presumably, is going to just up a little bit, that 9% from New Zealand. But no, they haven't seen fit to change anything on that just yet. So they've still got 99 and 1 for the draw. I've
got to say, looking at the radar, there's still a few showers around, but my expectation is that, at the very latest, by 3 o'clock, we'll be through the showers, and then it'll be clear. And that, even if we don't start till tea time, that's still plenty of time for England.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be annoying having to sit here and do nothing all day. But I've got the perfect salve for that. And it's England, New Zealand.
Go on then.
We're going to go back to the World Cup final. We haven't played this for a while.
What a good idea. That won't tempt
second
at all.
I
think
another
wicket has gone down, has it?
Yep. I should be betting on this game.
She may yet review. She has reviewed. Let's just hold off and see what happens on this review. Would have been a second wicket for Bell if she gets it, but we don't actually know that yet, so we're going to have a look.
What was it for? I wasn't watching. It's another in-swinger.
It really swung in.
I think that's pretty good, actually.
That looked pretty good to me. It's a heck of a lot of swing she's generating.
She doesn't bowl very quick. It's always going to come back in. There's no inside edge. It's a question of whether it's in line, really. I don't think it's swinging too much, but I think it might actually be outside the line. You see the leg stump behind her. It's outside. All umpires call just. That's going to be out then.
And that's out. It's already given, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was given.
To be fair, that's out. I mean, I'd say I know what is the tolerance for umpires call, because that only
has to be something in the region of. So if any of it's crossing the line, then and it's given out, it's umpires call.
Well, it's the end of Lizelle Lee. It means that South Africa are all in the bit of the mire at 45 for 4
with the main guns out.
Yeah. Who's done the damage very quickly? 1 for 14 for Kate Cross. Lauren Bell, she's just picked up her first wicket, so 1 for 14 for her. Izzy Wong 1 for 10. Natseva 1 for 2 off 3 overs. Fantastic figures for her. Exciting stuff.
Sharing it all around. Right,
just a couple of tweets before we go.
Okay.
Spicy Golden Duck says, good afternoon, Gorillas. Some glorious jinglage on display. In other news, little Sammy Curran has got his maiden first-class century for Surrey against Kent. Surrey are 545 for 5. And Omri Nueva says that pot will help the Blues if the COVID outbreak at home puts a dampener on going to the Hollies stand on Sunday. Roll on Friday. And Mog says maybe an additional Patreon benefit could be the list of names everyone uses on various social media.
They have to out themselves, I'm afraid. It's not our job to out people.
What were we thinking of doing for our Bishop and Bear this week?
I don't
Jim
know.
Birchall, you'd said. But I've got to get hold of him, haven't I?
Yes. No, I said Dan Brettick.
Oh, and have you?
Oh, no, I
you
haven't.
didn't actually. But never mind. All right, okay. We'll work
And just saying hello, Danny Pat says it's pissing down here in Gateshead. Pokey Bungfingers with us, and Suda Who is with us as well, and Stephen Kelk. So hello to all of you guys, and I'm sorry we're going to piss off for a while again.
Yeah, we are.
It's
going to be a rain today.
World Cup final again.
She is getting every. I keep watching this. I'll be quite enjoying watching the women's test from down there in Taunton. But I have to say, Lauren Bell is getting so much in swing. So much. He's absolutely hooping it in the air. Yes, I grant you possibly not super express pace, but I wouldn't want to be facing a ball swinging that much.
Well, no, the thing is, if the slower you bowl, the more it generally tends to swing. That's why you get guys in leagues when it's overcast in sort of Sunday league and Saturday league. They fucking hooping it around corners.
45 for 4 there. 18 overs gone. Contox in the background, and you have light fluffy cloud and plenty of blue sky in Taunton. So that's got to be good. But what are we going to play now then?
Well, we're going to go to the World Cup final. Second innings of the World Cup final, 2019. Owen Morgan's retired today, so it seems quite fitting. And it was against New Zealand.
Sorry, before you go, just news, just come in. They're having an early lunch at 12:30. So at that rate, we would hope to be starting at 1:10.
Yeah. So you'll get this. See you later.
Them being New Zealand and England. New Zealand taking the field. England will have to chase 242 to win the World Cup after 47 and a half matches. It all comes down to the next 2 or 3 hours. Can England get themselves over the line? I'm Gorilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and I'm joined on my right by none other than Paul Howarth, Grubby78.
Hello everyone, this is incredibly exciting.
And on my left, on your tweets, it's Pralab Gupta.
Hi everyone, very much looking forward to this. Every 4 years this happens, and there's going to be some classic final moments in the second innings.
Sometimes every 5 though,
earlier in the tournament last night.
87 to 92, yes,
87 to 92,
yeah,
92 to 96, and then 96 to 99. There was anyway, that's a discussion for another day. England's openers are on the way to the crease, and they are these men.
Duckworth Lewis loves you. The clouds part for you. Nothing stands in your way when you're a Roy.
And
Jonny Bairstow smarter than the average Bairstow. Jonny Bairstow's been this good since daycare, so all put on the wigs and let the crimson hand flow. I want the Pope to give him his own large prayer. Oh, he can hit the sixes, although it's so dark. He'd even run a 10 at Bradford Park Avenue. No other Yorkshireman can compare. I tell you, Jonny Bairstow's smarter than the average Bairstow.
And a man who drinks all of his drinks through a straw to be opening the bowl.
How does he speak, or play the horn, or clean his teeth, or even yawn? How does he shout, how does he call? Trent Boult's mouth is really small.
he's going to be bowling from the pavilion end, hoping to make use of the slope that slopes from grandstand to moundstand to tavern of about 2.5 metres, is it, I think? And he's going to be bowling to Jason Roy. We're going to see whether this pitch is as slow and lifeless as I suggested, or whether this is in fact a good score that New Zealand have managed to put on the board. It wasn't edifying watching it. It was hard to watch, wasn't it? Hard to watch, I think. But they've got the runs on the board, and they did it against India with something very similar. It's going to be all about these first 10 overs, I think, as Trent Boult is at the end of his run-up. Quite a lot of people still not back from their lunches, but anyway, here we go. Into Roy. Roy's on the pad, that's worth a shout! And Marius Erasmus just quietly shakes his head, almost imperceptibly. And
That looks interesting.
They're thinking about that.
Bloody close,
It was close, but maybe just going down the leg side.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction as well.
He's trying to review it. Well, I suppose it is Jason Roy. What a start this would be for New Zealand if Jason Roy has gone. He looks a little bit perturbed. Bairstow pats him on the chest as if to suggest, well, don't worry about it too much. We're going to find out pretty soon.
That was definitely out.
Was that definitely out?
I don't know.
And if that's out, I want to see who's the first person on Twitter to say, we don't!
I'm sure we've got a few of those already.
Has that pushed outside leg?
Nope.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
that
really
looked
close. Reasonably good.
Well, it
could have been umpire's
It was
balls
given
pushing
not
him.
out, so if it's just clipping, he gets away with that. There's no inside edge that I can see.
Oh, I think this could be cannoning into the middle of leg.
Oh, it's not a bad delivery at all. Oh, my word. Jason Roy, it's not pitching outside. Oh, it's impact in line. And it's
umpires, he's lucky. He's a lucky man.
He survives. It's the time of year. It's the era of Jason Roy. He has survived. And it's a good decision by the umpire. Or maybe not. Oh, the New Zealand fans, the sailors particularly, are taking their hats off.
And on such small margins.
Indeed, indeed.
You always want Dharmasena to be umpiring that one.
Oh goodness, no, because that would have been given out, and he'd have been well back in the dressing room. Well, there you go. What a dramatic opening to the England reply, and a warning there that England should not be complacent. This one comes back into Roy. He drives, gets a thick outside edge. Was playing for a little bit more swing than there was. Flies away down to third man, and they come through for a single.
Roy will be absolutely delighted to be off strike.
Well, I don't. Yes, he will be. He will be. It's just taking me back to the New Zealand opening, where Nicholls was given out, wasn't he? And then reviewed, and that was overturned.
Yep.
And he had yet to score at that point. He went on to get 55 and be the top scorer for New Zealand. So maybe that's a good omen for Jason Roy.
I need to get hold of Jason Roy and ask him what this week's lottery numbers are.
Well, the New Zealand players can barely believe it.
That would have been a great start for them.
Well, it would have been.
I was giving it out when I first saw it, I have to say, and had it been given out on the field, it would have been upheld on the field.
Yeah, well,
it
was very much worth a shout, wasn't it? Boult then to Bairstow for the first time with battle off. Just one slip, and he leaves this one outside the off stump. Through it goes to Tom Latham, and there is no run.
Yeah, I'm actually, as an England fan, I'm quite happy to see Jonny Bairstow not play at that one.
Yes.
You want to feel bat on ball, don't you, at the start of your innings, and certainly these two England openers. But that maybe betrays a healthy mindset of just need to play properly.
There's a man at a shortish square leg as Bairstow goes onto the back foot, defends this back to Boult. He's bowling with real aggression. He gives a big stare to Bairstow as he pushes that one back to him. Certainly in their faces already, New Zealand, and that's the way they've got to be.
Keep it full. If I were Trent Boult, just keep it full.
Yep. And we saw how Boult dragged Virat Kohli across the crease by bowling a little bit wider of off stump, got him to come across, and then got him one with the one that came back. Is he going to do the same with Jonny Bairstow? No, he's going to hit him on the pad, however. This one was probably going down the leg side. It runs into the onside. It's fielded by who is that? That's Nicholls, I think. And there is no run.
Yeah, you just need the maturity from these two batsmen. They don't have to go hard at it. It's understanding it's a World Cup final, 240 to chase.
But equally,
it's fine to be none for 50 after 10.
Yes, absolutely fine. Yeah, none for 50.
And also, look at the way that they played Mitchell Stark the other day as well. They showed great maturity in the way that they batted against him. Boult in! Oh, it's jagging back in the air to Bairstow. Gets his bat down on it at the last minute, jabs it behind square. There is the man there to field. Hoping for the catch. Trent Boult can't believe it. He's just shaking his head as he walks away at the end of that over. England have negotiated the first over. They are 1-1.
What a great first over it was from Trent Boult as well. You have to tip your hat to him there.
A great start to the World Cup. Natalie van der Wood. Hi guys, we're a mixed bunch of South Africans, Irish and Belgians.
Oh, wow. Hello.
Listening to you in France. Great commentary. Any idea how we can listen to the Wimbledon men's final?
No.
Stay with us, Natalie. Don't go there.
And one after the first over, Dr. Leonie Hicks. Is it acceptable to watch the run chase from behind the sofa?
I think it's the only place to watch it
through your fingers.
We've got a couple of sofas in the green room, so we'll all be lining up behind that, no doubt.
And with a stuffed drunk.
And as a prophecy goes, Durban Oak, fuck me, we're doomed.
Yeah, I told you. It's Matt Henry who's going to bowl from the nursery end, and he has a jingle that goes a little bit like this.
The could never trust a man with two first names. Matt Henry.
Two slips as he's in to bowl to Roy, who comes down in front of his pad. Lucky that he got full place of the bat onto that, turned it towards mid-wicket, and there is no run. Of course, remember that Matt Henry was the man who started it all off against India, took the wicket of Rohit Sharma early on.
Yeah. It's got a place, wouldn't look out a place in Coronation Street or Wallace and Gromit.
Do you think so?
Matt Henry, yeah.
Certain elements
nice sort of dark navy suit.
Northernness about him, I suppose. He's in again, bowling to Roy. Roy's on the inside edge by that one. Had a little punch at that, left the gap, through it went, but it bounced over the top of the stumps.
Tell you what, looks like Roy's day at the moment.
Yeah. Ooh, dear, he's not really very near that, was he? And that has come back up the hill, hasn't it?
Did he deliberately roll his fingers over that one?
Yeah, he did.
Bit like an off spin.
Yeah, lovely delivery. Just a little bit of movement back. He comes in again to bowl to Roy. Roy is beaten by that one, which goes the other way. This is fabulous bowling from Matt Henry. It was a little bit shorter of length, but it just kept going. And after receiving that ball before, that will have surprised him a little bit. We have a poll. I didn't know we had a poll. We have a poll which was based on who we thought would win. We had 48% thinking England win, 28% New Zealand, and 24% are expecting a super over.
24%.
24%.
This is already a super over, if you ask me. From Matt Henry, who's in again to bowl to Roy. Roy now decides to come down the wicket to negate as much of the movement and swing that he can. Plays this one comfortably enough up to mid-on, and there is no run.
Not a man who's over-blessed with intelligence, I'd say, Jason Roy, but that was quite intelligent batting, I think.
Well, I don't mind whether you're you can be as stupid as you like off the pitch, as long as you have cricketing intelligence. That's what I always go along with. Anyway,
but yeah, you're right. He did take a pace down, just to try to negate any of that late swing that you might be getting. And also played it comfortably in the end.
Yeah, next delivery is outside the off stump and he punches up to mid-off. There is no run. Also, I suppose further down he gets, if he does get hit on the pad, if the ball does come back, you know, he's got more leeway, hasn't he? The ball's got further to travel if there's an LBW shout. Anyway, 5 dot balls from Henry to start with.
Shipman Vars has got this comment about the umpiring to World Cup has been pretty pathetic, but I'd say that decision was just line ball.
Yeah, it's easy to knock the umpires with the technology, but they generally do a good job.
Full, but that's too full, and it's driven by Roy. Even with the timing and force that he has, this outfield does seem to be a little bit slow, but it does run to the nursery end for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, go!
Spoiled what had been a very good over until that point. England moved to 5 for no wickets.
Leah Ashwin takes 6 in top scores for Knots against Surrey. What a hero. Rakesh Pradhan. It was out. How the umpire gave it not out in the first place is shocking. Sportsnet more than clipping.
Hang on. Here it was hitting half the stump, so it's perfectly reasonable to give it not out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's some comments here from a couple of fans who just believe it was more than clipping and it should have been given. But I would say there'd be all Kiwi supporters or England haters who'd be in that category. And Muttley, too much excitement. I can't cope.
Get back on your rug, Muttley.
Yeah, steady on. Sit down in front of that fire. Bairstow then to face Boult in his second over, running in from the pavilion end. Oh, he throws that one wide, and it's given us a wide. Got that to go a little bit too far outside off stump. Wide. England move to 6 for no wicket. If you're just joining us on Guerrilla Cricket, where the hell have you been? Where is your note from your parents? Because you missed New Zealand getting 241 for 8.
Apparently there's some other sporting events on today. I've seen some polls.
This one comes back, but Bairstow just about gets back down on it, steers it to mid-wicket. Threat of Boult's in-swinger is a big one, it has to be said. It's certainly doing something for him in a way that it didn't really do anything for Stark when Australia bowled against England on Thursday.
Starkers just went off the boil, didn't he? At precisely the wrong moment for his team.
In a way, but I just don't think it was swinging. I mean, Behrendorff wasn't really getting it to go either. This one comes back into Bairstow again, a little bit shorter of length. Probably hit him on the thigh. Runs out to the offside.
I hated facing left armers when I was an opening batsman. It sounds obvious, but it is such a different angle, a different challenge. That one has hit Johnny B right in the bollocks, by the way. And it is really, really hard. I was given not out by one of my teammates who was umpiring first ball of an innings. I was plumb, by the way.
Yes.
Absolutely plumb. It's just so hard.
Boult in again. Oh, and as he nearly dragged on there, that's what I said the threat was. That often is with Jonny Bairstow when he throws his hands at the ball. He's got away with it. He's got a single as it ran down on the 45 towards fine leg. So he has his first run, a fortuitous one. Well, he dragged it onto his back leg and then it then rolled back towards the stumps, but fortunately for him, not onto them. And Boult will be wondering what he's done to offend the gods of cricket.
The cricket gods hand with New Zealand at the moment.
Boult in again. Bowls to fabulous ball, completely Yorks Roy, but somehow that hasn't hit the stumps. It must have hit a boot or something as it was just sliding down the leg side. But he was completely done on the length of that ball. It was an absolutely delicious Yorker that swung into him. Let's have a look at this again. Oh, well, he's actually managed to get
nothing on it.
He managed to even lift his foot over the top of the ball. He was done completely by Boult, and this is a fabulous opening spell.
Swung
which
that too far,
deserves a
Trent.
wicket, yes. Boult in again, and he's down the wicket, and he plays that really well. With a flick of the wrist, he guides that away through extra cover, and that's a good response from Roy, and it's 4 runs.
It's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
It's not dull, is it?
Not dull at all. This is it's all happening out there at the moment. And New Zealand will feel rather sore that they haven't already picked up a wicket, but England responding well and trying to play their shots when they can.
Just that game of centimetres, a few centimetres here and there, and how different would this be right now?
Absolutely. I think that's probably, it is true of sport, isn't it? When you think of the, another lovely ball, but he's met that with the full face of the bat. They've run through for a single as Kane Williamson comes over from mid-off to field. And that is the end of Boult's second over. He'll be very upset that he has figures of none for 8, and England after 3 are 12 for no wickets.
So a couple of tweets. Arthur Shire, innings break is giving me the chance to mow the lawn. Back with you in time for the inevitable England collapse.
Hey!
Adam Kite, delicious irony in the never trust a man with 2 first names jingle as Matt Henry balls to Jason Roy.
Yeah, oh, indeed.
Leah, people should stop abusing the umpires this World Cup. Not one Bucknell hair among them, or Random Rudy for that matter.
Random Rudy, yes.
David Evans, how can that possibly be not out? Because the umpire gave it not out, would be my play on that one.
And it was only hitting half the stump.
Derek Willis, look, I was in church, okay? Had to be to the liturgist, which I don't know what that means. So not much chance to check the cricket, but here now. I hope that liturgist meant
well,
what's that?
Welcome, my son.
Henry bowls ball that comes back into Roy, but Roy has lifted his bat way above his head, got it out of the way, and through the keeper it goes. It's a form of liturgy, isn't it?
The liturgy, yes.
The liturgy, yes. It started to go away and then hit the wicket and decided to go the other way. That's great bowling. But Jason Roy is taking a step down the wicket to do all he can to negate that. Henry turns, he's in again, bowls, and it's a beauty which goes off the pitch as well as moving away in the air. He has a little bit of a fiddle for it outside off stump and is beaten by that. He nods his acknowledgement of what a good delivery that was. So we're seeing some great artistry from New Zealand here from these fast bowlers.
Great artistry from Dr. Dan Diper as well. Some beautiful images that you see of some wickets we've seen in the New Zealand innings.
Absolutely.
Get to our Twitter page for more.
Indeed. Here's Henry again into Roy, and it's on his legs, and he flicks that away down to long leg. It'll only be a single because it hurried down to the backfielder there, who is Lockie Ferguson.
So he's got the tash now, hasn't he?
He's got the 70s porn tash.
He's
right. He really has. He is the. He could have just stepped out of the pages of I don't know whatever.
Is he just? It's been passed on from Jimmy Neesham to him.
I think it's reached its fruition in Lockie.
He's playing with bats and balls.
Yeah,
looks a bit peach fuzzy to me. Remember that line from Beverly Hills Cop?
I don't know.
About his tash, peach fuzz about his top lip.
Big dark dirty cloud over Lords at the moment, but no rain as far as we can tell. as Henry comes in from the nursery end. Bowls to Bairstow, finds an outside edge as he probes forward, feeling for the ball a little bit. Runs down to third man, and they take the 1. He goes to 2. Roy has 11. It's 14 for no wicket.
Anna Forsyth. I've lost the tweet. I really can't cope with this. Fuck me, drink and bowl.
Think about pizza, Anna. Again, thank you very much for that generous donation.
I enjoyed the pizza.
Yeah, me too.
Most of it was cold by the time I got to the second helping, sadly. But there you go. Henry in again to Roy. Roy jabs this away from his waist towards Guptill at mid-wicket. There is no run.
What you want to do there is eat faster.
Yeah, that's true. I had one really big juicy piece to start with just before my those last 10 overs. But yeah, by the time I got out there for the second helping,
all of us all of you have spoilt us enormously.
Have
with donuts and pizzas and beer and everything. Thank you.
We can't eat it all. We can't eat it all. Down the wicket comes Roy. Smashes that over the top of mid-on. It's going to plug. It's not gone very far. It's going to plug. Sort of about 20 yards inside the boundary at Cow. But they've got back for 2. It wasn't much fun to watch, but it was effective. England have now reached 16 for no wicket after 4.
Nice work there. They just went along with it and tried to hit it out of the ground, but that is the way he plays. Mutley, surprisingly, we're only 0.89 runs below the run rate. That shot, I would say, maybe slightly ahead. Jay Grover, hello, my name is Jay. I've just made my bed. Nothing else happened in my flat during lunch. What's all the shouting about?
Jay, I don't even want to imagine what else has been going on in the lunch break in your flat or anywhere near you.
Yeah, we've got a couple of score updates from Otis Sayman, just for those who are interested in other sports apart from cricket. Djokovic took the first set, 7-6. Federer up a break in the second.
Good.
Vettel drove into the back of Verstappen. Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc with 6 laps to go.
Boult.
Bottas has to pit again.
Bowls, and Bairstow hits this with the swing quite nicely, crisply really, but straight to mid-wicket, and there is no run. It's a very interesting start this has been, as it was really to the New Zealand innings. I think that there's been helpful conditions for the bowlers all day really. When it stopped swinging and moving off the pitch has just died a little bit, so it's been difficult to play fluent strokes. Yes. I would say
you can't trust it 100%.
No. Boult in again to Bairstow, and Bairstow, oh wow, I thought he'd been bowled by that, but actually it just hit him high on the thigh. Again it came right back into him, defeated his shot. The ball rebounded away to first slip, and there is no run.
Richard Clark has got some perfect tactical advice. On holiday, tactically told my wife that I would look after my son so she could have a nap in the innings break. Now sitting on a sun lounger with a glass of wine while she's running ragged by him, cashing in for the next hour.
Oh, that's crafty.
Did you make sure that was during your son's sleep time?
Very.
Hope she's not listening.
Very good. Boult in again to Bairstow. Bairstow drives. He's going to get runs here. He's pierced the field on the offside, and that is going to run away towards the grandstand for 4 runs. Trent Boult stands there and wonders where the justice has gone.
It's a bit like Fido Dido, doesn't he? Trent Boult.
I don't know who Fido Dido is.
You know the little character for 7-Up? The little cartoon with his hair sticking upwards. Like his face has been caught in a lift or something.
You've been working in advertising too long.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Boult, short one. Bairstow ducks underneath it. Through the keeper it goes. There is a man at a short backward square leg, I would say. Or perhaps you could argue it's a leg gully, but quite square. And that's the one that he just clips with the swing off his legs.
Jonny with his bluely branded...
Bluely branded?
Yeah, bluely
branded
Grey Nicholls.
Yep.
It's nice. And his nickname is Blue, isn't it?
Bluey. Well, his dad was known as Bluey.
Yeah.
Boult in. Oh, big full toss, driven. And that will also run away for 4. Didn't get the length right there at all. Did get some swing, but it wasn't enough. And that is another boundary. England moved to 24 for no wicket. Roy has 13. Bairstow with that shot goes into double figures. He has 10.